Hi loves, welcome back to my channel. So today I have a very exciting video. Today is going to be a first impression video on the Fenty Beauty Pro'filtr Soft Matte Foundation. I'm so excited. This is my first ever high-end foundation. Ever. So I'm really excited to be reviewing this with you guys and trying it on for the first time with you guys. Fenty Beauty released on September 8th at Sephora and Sephora inside JCPenney. It was really a big deal at my store. Like, it was so hyped up, it was so anticipating. They're still playing Rihanna music, so it was just kind of on my mind, and I really wanted to try this foundation because I've heard so many good things about it that I just wanted to try it for myself and see if the hype was justified. So anyway, without further ado, let's just get into the video. Hope you guys do enjoy it and give it a thumbs up if you are enjoying it. Let's just get right into it. Okay guys, so I'm really excited for today's video because, like I mentioned in the intro, I'm going to be trying out the Fenty Beauty Pro'filtr foundation. I'm really excited. This is the only Fenty item that I own because it is, you know, a little pricey for me. I did decide to go ahead and splurge on a pretty pricey foundation, which I normally do not do. I'm really excited to be doing this review for you guys today. Fenty released on September 8th. In Sephora inside JCPenney. Rihanna released 40 different foundation shades in her Pro'filtr matte foundation, which is pretty amazing. It's pretty much a big deal for any company to release that many shades in their first debut. Really proud of her for releasing a makeup line, and apparently it's been a really great release. I've seen a lot of really positive reviews on the makeup line. I really just want to put this foundation on because I'm so excited. Anyway, I have already done my eyebrows. As per usual, I usually do my eyebrows before my foundation. It's easier for me that way. I don't know. So my eyebrows are already done. If you can see this little red mark on my mouth, it's not like a cold sore. It's not a pimple. I busted my mouth on my dresser. So long story short, I'm a clumsy so anyway, ignore this, or at least try to ignore my little friend right here, and let's dive in. Okay, so I have here in my hands the foundation. This is the packaging that it's in. It's just the standard packaging, all black with a kind of pinkish airbrush effect. Just says Fenty Beauty by Rihanna on it. This is the Pro'filtr Soft Matte Long Wear Foundation. It's supposed to be extra light and extra long wearing. It's supposed to feel like you have nothing on your face, basically. Let's open it up and show you the actual packaging. So this is what the bottle looks like. It's a glass bottle, white cap, and it's like a frosted glass bottle. Just says Fenty Beauty on it. And on the back, it says to shake well. This has 1.08 fluid ounces of product in it, which is a standard for any foundation. Usually it's about that much. This product retails for $34, and you can get it in Sephora or your Sephora inside JCPenney. This product is supposed to be good for 12 months after opening it. As you can see on the label there, I don't know if you can see it, but it says it has a little jar opening and it says 12 months, and that is how you know how long a product is good for, which a lot of people don't go by. I personally don't, but just thought I'd throw that out there. So like I mentioned before, this foundation has 40 different shades, varying from super light to super dark, with different shades of undertones, pink, warm yellow. Has a bunch of different undertones and a bunch of different shades to cater to everyone's skin tone, which is really awesome because nowadays, or just in general, a lot of brands don't do that. So really excited to share that with you guys. I personally don't have a lot of issues finding a foundation that matches my skin because I'm just such an average skin tone. I have yellow undertones mostly, and I usually am in the medium to light to medium range. So I don't really have a lot of issues finding foundation. Sometimes I do when it comes to the undertone, but normally I don't. In Fenty, I am the shade 230. I actually got shade ID'd. Is it shade ID? What is it called? At Sephora, and I pulled up 240, and we just tried 230 and 240, and 230 work the best for me. This is going to be a full first impression of me trying this foundation out. The only thing I did was swatch a little bit in my lower jawline area in Sephora just to see if the match was correct. But other than that, I really don't know the texture of it and how it feels really, because I wasn't the one applying it. The Sephora associate was the one that applied it to me. So this is a full first impression. Hopefully the shade is a really good match, because you know how it is. The lighting in Sephora isn't always, you know, accurate. So when you try something on, it's not really 100%. So let me stop rambling and let's just get into it. The bottle says to shake it well, so I'm just gonna give it a little bit of a shake just to make sure that, you know, everything is blended and meshed. I'm gonna do like 2 pumps onto my hand, and this is what the consistency is. It's a little bit liquidy, but it's nothing too crazy. Just ignore those swatches on my hands. I was swatching the CoverGirl or Maybelline matte lipsticks. It's a little bit liquidy, but when you rub into it, it's a little thick. So it's not too liquidy, but it's also not very thick. I'm just gonna apply it to my face with my fingers. And I'm just gonna do half of my face for now because I don't know how fast it will dry. So now I'm just going to take a damp sponge, Real Technique sponge. It has a couple of rips in it, don't mind me. And I'm just gonna go ahead and blend it. The scent of this foundation is a little bit rosy to me. I don't know if it's just me or if I'm just like weird, but it has a bit of a rose scent to it, which I don't mind at all. Okay, this foundation is drying very quick. I can tell off rip it's drying very quick, so you gotta work quick with this, or when you are applying it, you should do it how I did, just half of your face. It's picking up very pale on camera, but as I look in this mirror, it looks like the perfect match for my skin. It's going on very evenly, very smooth. There's no blotches. However, I am using a beauty blender, so that could be different with a brush, but I'm not sure. I obviously have not used a brush. This is my first time putting this on my face. And I did not prime my face simply because I just wanted to see how it would apply without a primer. Because I typically will prime always. However, I didn't prime. There's half of my face with the foundation. Just to test it out, I'm going to go ahead and prime my face on this side, and I'm going to use the Urban Decay Complexion Primer just on one half of my face, just to see if it'll apply any different with a primer rather than without. I think that the shade is an exact match to me. It matches my neck perfectly. My face is a little lighter than my neck, but it just goes completely matched to my neck, which is amazing. It is rare that I find a foundation that is an exact match, and this is an exact match. It's really creepy, but I'm gonna kind of get a little closer just so you guys can see how it looks close up. So this is my face without any primer. Looks really smooth. Now that I'm a little closer, you can tell that the shade matches my neck exactly, and it's just a really good shade. It's a perfect match, so I'm really, really happy with that. So as I'm touching my face, I don't think the foundation has set all the way yet. It's still a little bit tacky, a little sticky. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue on to the other side of my face. I'm just gonna do 1.5 pumps, and just dab that on the side that I primed. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and blend again with my sponge. Again, I'm getting the scent of this product, and I can't put my finger on how it smells. It just has like a very like florally, like pretty scent to it, and I don't know if it's just me. If you guys have tried this foundation, definitely comment down below and let me know if you smell anything floral to it as well, because it's so weird. It smells really nice, but I've never had a foundation smell like this before, so it's kind of weird to me. Put a little bit more. The foundation did cover up my little friend on my lip, which is nice. Okay, so here's my full face of Fenty Pro'filtr Matte Foundation. This side I did use primer on, this side I did not. I'm gonna move up a little closer to the prime side just so you can get a little close up of it. So this is what that is looking like. It is an exact match to my neck, which is perfect. If I can get a little close, you can tell that you can still see my freckles popping through. So the coverage for me would be maybe medium to full, kind of in that spectrum. Full coverage for me would cover my freckles. Medium would be a light coverage. It did cover up my little friend on the top of my lip, which is okay, which is cool, but I'm pretty sure this can be layered. I'm gonna go ahead and add one more layer just to see how it does build up, if it doesn't look too cakey, if it still looks nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and speed through me adding another layer to my face. Okay, so this is my face after 2 layers. It does layer beautifully. It doesn't cake up. It feels light still. It doesn't feel too heavy on the skin. When you touch it, it doesn't feel like you have like a ton of makeup on. Right now, it is still a little bit sticky when I touch my face, but I still haven't given it enough time to like dry it down completely. Maybe in a few minutes, it will dry down. But I'm gonna give you guys another little close-up just to see how it layers on my skin. Okay, so this is Fenty after 2 layers on the prime side. Layered really beautifully. As you can see, my freckles aren't really showing through too much. It's really hard to hide my freckles, I'm not gonna lie. That's like a really problem area for me. Can't hide them no matter what I do, so yeah. And this is Fenty on the other side of my face that is not primed. I love it. It looks beautiful. Okay, as I'm touching my face, it's still a little bit tacky. Not anything too crazy, but it is still a little wet to the touch. So I'm gonna give it a few minutes to set in. I'm gonna give it a few more minutes to set, and then I'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more about it. Okay, so we're back, and I was filming for like 10 minutes or something, and I wasn't even actually filming. So I was just sitting there talking to myself, So it's been about 10 minutes now, which I didn't intend to let this sit for 10 minutes. I was only gonna let it set for like 5 minutes. And as I was filming, it was like 3 minutes after I left in the previous clip. So it's been 10 minutes now, but 3 minutes when I first started filming, and my face was fully set, and right now it still is fully set. It's not sticky, it's not tacky, it's dried down to kind of a powder finish. I know it looks a little dewy and glowy on film because of the lighting, but when I look in the mirror here, it looks really matte and really flat. So now we can talk a bit about first impressions and how I really feel about this foundation. So first I want to talk about coverage, which is very important to most people. This foundation claims to be a medium to full coverage, which I do agree with. After After 1 layer, it's more of a medium coverage, which is what I like. And after 2 layers, it's more of a full coverage. I don't know if you can build it up to 3 layers. Since it's supposed to be buildable, I'm sure you can. But for me personally, I don't typically layer my foundations anyway. I usually just do 1 layer and I'm done, because I just like to let my skin shine through the foundation. I just like that look a lot more. So I don't typically layer twice, so I'm just not even gonna go ahead and do a 3rd layer because there's just no point to it. It layers beautifully. 1 layer alone is even more beautiful than 2 layers, honestly. I mean, the 2nd layer doesn't look bad at all, but I prefer the 1st layer on its own. It looks really pretty. The coverage is medium on 1 layer and the coverage is full with 2 layers. I'm sure it'd be a little different with a brush. I have not tried it with a brush because I just personally don't use brushes to apply foundation regularly, so I don't want to come on camera and act like I do that, because I don't. But I'm sure with a brush it's a little different, because brushes tend to pick up more product and they tend to lay down more product, because a wet sponge kind of diffuses the product out a little more. So I'm sure with a brush, 1 layer would probably be closer to full coverage rather than with a sponge, and 2 layers would be like extra full coverage, I'm pretty sure. But you can probably watch another review about that with brushes, because I'm just not gonna use a brush. I just don't do that. So with a sponge, 1 layer would be a medium coverage, 2 layers would be a full coverage. So and now we can talk kind of about the shade range. I'm kind of dead smack in the middle, a little closer to lighter, but in the middle. Sephora IQ matched me to 240, but I went down a shade because I felt like 240 was a little dark, but I'm glad I did, because the foundation does oxidize just a little bit. Nothing too crazy, like some foundations can get like a whole 2 shades darker than your face, but it does oxidize just a little bit, which is good. So if you're kind of in between shades in this, I would just go with the shade down, because it does get a little darker and it works better if you would go down, because it does darken a little bit. Oxidization isn't really a deal breaker for me either, because I did go the safe route and get the lighter shade, which works for me. It is a warm undertone, which is perfect. I'm a warmer gal, so it does match my skin perfectly, and I'm sure that whoever's watching this wouldn't have an issue finding a shade, because there are just so many shades. They're so beautiful. They have so many different undertones, and that is really, really important in brands, because there aren't a lot of brands that cater to so many different skin tones. So big props to Rihanna for, you know, catering to every colored skin girl. So that's a really good thing. If I had to compare this foundation to another foundation that I have used, it would maybe be the Maybelline Matte and Poreless foundation, just in the consistency and the way that it kind of lays on your skin. It's matte, but it doesn't dry out your skin and make you look really cakey and like creasy and gross. It just lays really beautifully and it looks really nice. So that's what I would kind of compare this foundation to. Obviously the price ranges are way different, but as far as the coverage, the consistency, I would compare it to that foundation. This foundation does have a bit of a scent, so if you're not big on scents, or if you don't like floral scents and rose scents, I would skip this because the scent is really strong. I still do get a little whiff of it on my face. It probably won't be so much once I add the rest of my makeup on. I'm still just wearing foundation, by the way, but once I add the rest of my makeup on, it might go away. The scent is still there, so if you're not big on scents, I would pass. As far as the consistency of this and what kind of skin types it would be best for, I honestly believe that it would be best for oily. However, I think dry skin girls can get away with using this foundation if they use a hydrating primer underneath. Not that this foundation is very drying, however it is matte, and typically dry skin and matte just don't mix. So I think a dry skin girl could really rock this and it would be great, because although it is matte, it's not super dry, it's not super heavy, it's not cakey, it still hasn't really settled into any of my fine lines, which is amazing. So I honestly do think a dry skin girl can get away with rocking this foundation as long as she doesn't use a mattifying primer, which I doubt any dry skin girl is using a mattifying primer, but as long as she uses something hydrating underneath or just moisturizes, probably not set it because it'll set on its own. The way it sets is really nice. You don't really need a setting powder if you're dry. For oily girls, this foundation is a dream. So that's what I think on that. As far as the price range, it's decent, it's okay. I'm not really a high-end foundation girl. I don't typically buy high-end foundations. I don't usually think they're worth the money. As far as if it's worth it or not, if you're a makeup junkie and you love makeup and you love beauty products, definitely, for sure, go ahead and buy this. It's worth the splurge. It's a beautiful foundation. It has plenty of product. It'll last you a while, and it has so many different shades to choose from. So especially if you have a hard time looking for your shade and finding your shade, definitely try this foundation out. You don't have to keep it if you don't like it. You can always return at Sephora. So just give it a try. It's worth it to me. I really like it. And that's just a first impression. Of course, my impression can change. My opinion can change after, you know, a full wear, seeing other makeup on top of it, of course. But as for my first impression, I really do like it. I give it a huge thumbs up. It's great. It's pricey. It's not my cup of tea because I typically don't like to spend too much on a foundation, but as of right now, I think it was worth it. And if you're interested in splurging, spoiling yourself, and buying something expensive that you know you're gonna like, I would go with this foundation. If you're interested in it, go ahead and buy it, try it out. It's a beautiful foundation, and I think it's really universal and it'll work for anyone, and I'm pretty sure you'll be able to find your shade. So yeah, that is basically all that I have to say about this. I'm gonna go ahead and finish my makeup and I'm gonna close this video. So I'll see you in just a few minutes. Okay, so I'm back. I finished the rest of my face. All I did was set my face, add some mascara and contour and highlight in this lip color, which is this Maybelline Vivid Matte in the shade Berry Boost. Pretty cute, I like it. This is the first time I ever worn it. It's still not dry. I just put it on though, so I don't know. I did set my face because, I don't know, I just have to set my face. I can't not set my face or I'll be a grease ball. We're gonna end this video here. Overall, I really like this foundation. It's really pretty, and I think that it is worth the shot. If you're kind of on the fence about buying it, definitely just try it out. Color matched when you go to Sephora because it's so accurate. Like, you would think it was like just a gimmick, but the IQ color match is actually pretty accurate. So if you do want to go ahead and try it out, get color matched if you haven't already and buy it. It's worth the splurge. It's a really nice foundation, and this is coming from someone who does not buy high-end foundations. I would definitely buy it all over again if I ran out of it. So it's a nice foundation. Rihanna did a really nice thing releasing this makeup brand. I think it's going to be huge. I think it's going to be a really good success, because she just caters to so many different skin tones, and the quality is amazing from what I've tried so far, and I do intend on trying other Fenty products. So we're gonna close this video here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching me try on this new foundation, my first high-end foundation, which is really exciting. Be sure to subscribe. As always, I will have a button popping up around here on the screen. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and let me know what you guys want me to review next, because I love doing reviews and I love being honest. So definitely let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.